Hello, welcome back to the August Diaries. My name is Jill. This is a beauty, fashion, lifestyle channel. Today we're talking all about spring trends. Spring is finally around the corner. It has been a long winter, let me tell you. I had a baby. He was born in October and then my postpartum was over the winter, so I'm really feeling like I need to get outside with my kids and just like feel some sun on my face. So let's talk spring summer trends. I say trends kind of as lack of a better word because I honestly don't think that trends are as relevant as they used to be. There's so much fashion to consume, whether it's like runways, fashion magazines, social media, street style. And at this point, I think people just really wear what they want, which I honestly love. I feel like we're trending toward slower fashion, and that doesn't necessarily have to be about the particular price point, but really just about buying pieces that you're gonna wear over and over and over again. Technically, there are some brands that are like considered fast fashion, but I also want to be aware that, you know, like not every price point is accessible for everybody, and you can buy something that's cheaper and then wear it for like 5 years, and I don't consider that fast fashion. Because of the whole trending towards slower fashion, I feel like trends are sticking around for longer. You know, it's not like any of these trends are particularly groundbreaking each year. You know, like burgundy for fall, floral for spring. Will I still be wearing denim on denim? Yes, forever. And then the whole preppy vibe has kind of morphed into a little bit more of the like East Coast, coastal prep, kind of nautical vibes. So I wanted to make this video because I basically have done all of the research: Vogue, Who What Wear, Marie Claire, Glamour, Harper's Bazaar, and I've chosen my top 10 fashion trends for spring. And then from there, you get to pick and choose what you like, what you hate, what you'll actually wear, and then just leave the rest. I said this in my previous fall fashion video, but I like to think about trends as kind of like a menu. You browse, take inspiration, and then select the ones that suit your personal style, flatter your body, work with your lifestyle, and then close the menu and move on. Fashion should be a creative choice, not a set of rules to follow. Trends can be fun and refreshing, but they should complement your wardrobe, not dictate it. So take from that what you will, and let's get into it. Thank you so much to Geox for sponsoring this video. All of the gorgeous shoes that you see are Geox. This is now our third or fourth trends video we've done together. They're a long-term partner of mine, and their shoes are honestly the most comfortable and well-made I've ever had on my feet. The first trend I want to talk about is the sheer trend. I really love this. I feel like there are a lot of different ways that you can go about this. It doesn't necessarily need to be the naked trend. Like, you don't need to be wearing a completely sheer dress to make this trend work. So sheer was seen at Prada, Hermes. It's quite nostalgic and also kind of romantic. When I say nostalgic, I'm thinking of like Cher from Clueless, which is such a good reference. There's a lot of tulle, obviously, because tulle is sheer. Models were kind of like draped in tulle. It's kind of like a modern twist on classic silhouettes. You can really use it as a styling tool to give you a lot of versatility. Like, you can wear a sheer set together as I did here. You can pair just a sheer skirt. You can pair just a sheer shirt. There's kind of like a scale of sheerness that you can do. So you can do like a little sheer panel on your shirt, or you can go to the other end of the spectrum and go fully sheer in like a dress or a skirt. Another really cool way to do this is to use mixed colors, and then that leads us nicely into the earth tones. When I say earth tones, I mean like camel, beige, khaki green, kind of like a clay green, burgundy, cream, chocolate brown. Those are all such gorgeous earth tone colors, and it's actually not really something that you see a lot of in spring, which I think is cool. Doing a monochrome look is a really easy way to wear this. Within that color family, going with something kind of tailored, like slouchy tailored, more minimalist, is definitely really popular. This kind of reflects a shift toward more grounded and organic aesthetics. And you could also argue that the earth tone colors reflects kind of the sustainability mindset, or lack thereof, which can resonate with consumers who are seeking style and substance in their fashion choice. The next trend is powder pink. I kind of never thought that I would wear that much pink again, although I've learned to never say never with fashion. but this pink is definitely like a pastel, a light powdery pink, and it's really beautiful. I especially love it paired with like an army green. That is probably my favorite color combination. It brings a sense of elegance and versatility. It was seen at Brandon Maxwell, Kate, Miu Miu, and it definitely shows a shift towards like more romantic, softer tones in fashion. And then again, talking about the transitions with trends in fall, burgundy was really big, so that kind of shifts into a lighter tone of powder pink. There are lots of different ways that you can wear this. You can do a monochromatic outfit as I did here with the sweatsuit. You know, I really wanted to show that there are a lot of different ways that you can incorporate trends into your outfit, even if it's like sweatpants. Again, I paired this with the olive trench coat. That's one of my favorite color combinations. And then a bit of a more retro sneaker. It's a beautiful way to play with more like minimalistic pieces and kind of simple old luxury pieces. I feel like the pink makes it a little bit softer, a little bit more romantic. And then you can also, if you don't want to do pink in terms of clothing, you can also do like pastel pink nails or more of like a pinky blush or lip. There are different ways that you can incorporate this if you're interested, but not necessarily wanting to wear like a pink shirt. So the next one is kind of like the coastal prep, more nautical, East Coast preppy vibes. Obviously, this is not a new trend. It's kind of like a more elevated version of the previous athletic kind of college prep trend from fall. There's a lot of like sporty jackets, like rugby shirts. There's definitely a lot more stripes because of the more nautical theme, which also touches on, I guess, what you could call a micro trend, which is stripes on stripes, which I love. This was at Ralph Lauren, the Attico, Ganni, Tory Burch, Loro Piana. A sporty jacket is also really big, so adding that into kind of a basic overall outfit can really elevate it, give it more of a nautical feel. And then again, adding in preppy footwear like a loafer is also very like East Coast preppy vibe as well. They're kind of easy ways that you can pull from trends like that and then incorporate that into your own wardrobe. Arguably, my favorite trend for this season is the boho trend. I'm definitely going very 70s with that. 70s is one of my absolute favorite decades, and I find that I'm always very inspired by it. And I definitely like more of a retro feel with my style. It was first seen at Chloe a few seasons ago, and the very like flowy, lacy, kind of boho-y Sienna Miller vibe from the early 2000s is Sienna was actually at the Chloe show, which I love. You know, like the floppy hats, there's a lot of like silky, lacy fabrics. Like I said, it's at Chloe, Nancy Dojaka, Stella McCartney, Tibby, Totem, but it's definitely a little bit more polished and refined this time around. So for my interpretation, I actually paired it with a pair of jeans and flats to make it look like a little bit more ladylike, but then the sunglasses add a little bit more of like a retro 70s vibe. I feel like after the Daisy and the Six show that was on, I guess it was like 2 or 3 years ago now, but that definitely inspired more of a boho resurgence because that was the styling in that whole show was amazing. Another trend is the soft suiting. I would say that, you know, suiting is in at all times. I think it's definitely gone more fashiony or like street style as opposed to just wearing it in the office, which I think is really cool. There are different ways that you can dress up a suit and you can kind of make it really cool. But I would say that this season, it's more of like a drapey, softer silhouette. There's still definitely an 80s reference, especially at Saint Laurent, with the tie and the larger shoulders, but I think it's more of like a, like I said, softer, drapier, more minimalist vibe. I kept it super minimal, wearing just the suit. And you definitely want some structure in the suit, but having like a drapier fabric really makes it look very fresh. You know, a suit is basically a really easy way to feel put together no matter what the occasion. There's a lot more relaxed silhouettes and comfortable fabrics. It's kind of like brings suiting into everyday life, which I really love. And then obviously you don't have to wear it together as a suit. You can wear the blazer with jeans, you can wear the pants separately with a different shirt shirt. It's kind of like having like 3 outfits in one automatically, which I really love. So maybe one of the most difficult trends is the skirt or dress over pants, which is hilarious because this really reminds me of the early 2000s and I guess could be cringe, and I was a little bit hesitant to add this one in, but I found a sheer dress which I thought was really cool over the trousers, and I also think that a lot of brands on the runway did a really good job. You know, it's not necessarily just a skirt or a dress plain over trousers. Like, it's sheer, the skirt is kind of like pulled up on one side. It's a lot more interesting. You kind of need the artful combination of like putting an interesting skirt or like a sheer skirt with pants, and you also need to play with like volume and proportions. So in this instance, I went with a lot more of a slimmer pant, but there are also ways that you can wear it with like more of a trouser, a wide leg trouser. I did a monochrome look for this, but you can obviously pair it with different colors. I think that could look really cool. This was seen at the Row, at Lacoste, Hermes, and I really like that it kind of encourages experimentation and more personal expression. The quiet luxury or old money aesthetic is definitely still very in. I would say that it's veering more towards like a ladylike aesthetic. So, you know, the very old classic like Chanel button-ups with no collar. A lot of the girls are wearing that like as a shirt instead of something underneath, which is what I did here. But that very like boxy jacket is definitely very trendy. Obviously this reminds you of a certain brand. Chanel themselves went back to this, although they always have kind of a variation of this. Balenciaga, Jill Sander, Tory Burch, Michael Kors. You know, these are kind of staples that you can have in your wardrobe and put away and pull out again. So tailoring is really big. You kind of want to make sure that you're going for a really beautiful fabric, whether it's like a silk wool blend or something more tweed. You can go with a different silhouette, which is more of like the hourglass silhouette with the blazer. I chose to like go a little bit more fashion forward, interesting with this, with the long denim shorts. I thought that looked kind of cool, especially with a very ladylike put together blazer. I kind of wanted to take that trend and make it a little bit more my own, because I'm not necessarily a very ladylike person in general, but also just in terms of my style. But it's cool to kind of like try things out, right? Like, that's what's so amazing about fashion. You can try something on, wear it for a day, and if you don't like it, you just take it off. Like, it's not a big deal. Another trend is the crisp blue cotton shirt. So this was seen at Prada, Bottega Veneta, Miu Miu. This is obviously not a new trend. This is a very classic staple piece in your wardrobe. The blue is really beautiful. I feel like there are a lot of really good color combinations that you can do. The pale blue kind of feels like a more fresh take on the white crisp classic shirt. You know, you can wear it tucked into high-waisted pants. You can definitely go for more of the tailoring vibe, or you can dress it down with like a pair of jeans and go kind of more ladylike classic. The next one is a shoe trend, and this is really something that I also consider more of a classic, and that is the elevated leather sandal. It's kind of reminiscent of like the ancient Greek sandals, but it's definitely that vibe. It's very casual and minimalistic, and I feel like it adds a very effortless feel to an outfit. So, you know, you can wear it with trousers, you can wear it with shorts, a dress, jeans, like literally anything, but it kind of is a little bit more elevated than like a basic flip-flop. These ones are a little bit chunkier, but you can also go with like a bit more of a sleek look. It definitely like harkens back to the more quiet luxury, minimalistic vibe. Think like the Row, Totem, 80. I feel like these are such a staple in spring, summer fashion. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I did a ton of research, put this all together. I would love to know what you think of my trend picks. Love them, hate them. Let me know below. I do one of these videos every season, so be sure to follow me and like for more, and I'll see you soon. Bye.